Hey guys, just wanted to do a little drafting lesson here for you. Hopefully this one's a little easier to follow along than the one I did before. I'm actually going to do, attempt to draft this out on paper to give you guys a step-by-step. So I have a squared around here that's going to be 6-inch round on top, 8 inches tall, and then it's a 10 by 10 square bottom. It's on center both ways. So the very first step you need to do is make a plan view drawing of this. So I'm just going to start off by drawing a plan view in this corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. So it's going to be freehand, but I got grid paper here, so this should help me keep it pretty straight and easy to see. All right, and then there's our center. Okay, so now I'm going to use a compass here to make the 6-inch round part. So I've already got it preset. Hopefully this shows up okay. I'm doing a full plan view here just so you guys see what it would look like from the top of this fitting. Okay, and then using the radius that I got to draw that circle, if I go to the center points of the circle, I can use that same radius to divide it into equal spaces all the way around. I'm just gonna split this fitting in half because laying out a triangle like this, you want to have 2 half patterns. I only need 1/4 of it to actually lay it out because this corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner are all exactly the same. But for the ease of this layout, I'm going to show you the full half pattern here. So I'm just going to darken up these points so they're easier to see. So each one of these points now gets drawn back to the corner. So from this corner here, I'm going to go right to the center, and then to this division, and then all the way to the center here. And then I'm going to repeat that in this corner. Okay, now you can see this corner and this corner are exactly the same. I'm just going to darken up the circle. So there we have a half pattern in the plan view. So the next thing I'm going to do is label it. I'm going to do the square parts with letters. So I'm going to go A, B, C, D, and my circle part I'm going to label with numbers. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so that's step number 1, making a plan view that's labeled and all to scale. Now to lay out this pattern, it's basically triangulation. The definition of it is having 2 known points to find a 3rd unknown point. So in this view here, I can have a distance from this one view. So I have a known length here, but I need a known length in another view as well, so I can find the 3rd length. So if this squared around is 8 inches tall, I need to represent that in a true length triangle. So if I just make a true length triangle here that's 8 inches tall, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 inches tall from here to here, 8 inches. And then I'm going to just do an arbitrary length out this way. So this is where I'm going to be plotting measurements from here, so I can actually make a hypotenuse, which is going to give me that third length, or the true length. So if I take these measurements here, so from this corner to the number 1, if I measure that, and then transfer it over to the baseline here, starting at the bottom and moving it there, then that hypotenuse becomes the true length for this B1 line. So again, take a measurement of B1, put it on the baseline here, and then from the top of that 8 inches down to the baseline, that's going to be a true length. Now with a squared around on center, there should be a lot of lengths that actually end up being the same. Because I freehand, this might not translate super well, but B1 and B4 are going to be the same, which means C4 and C7 are also the same. So I can actually label that on here. So this first line I did is going to be B1, B4, C4, and C7. Now the next one I'm going to transfer over is from the corner here on B to 2, and I'm going to put that on the baseline here. And again, because it's on center, B2, B3, C5 and C6 are all the same. So when I transfer them over on that true length triangle, they're all gonna be the same length. So B2, B3, C5, C6. Those are all the same at this point. Now there's 2 more measurements I need to put on there, and that's going to be my A to 1 and D to 7, because in this view they're not true lengths either. In the plan view here, the only thing that is a true length is A to B, B to C, and C to D, because they're perpendicular to my plane of view. So I need to plot these out so I can get a hypotenuse to make a true length. So if I take that measurement there, A1 and D7 are going to be the same. So plot them on the baseline here. A1 and D7. All right, now I have all my plan view lengths. And then if I have my elevation view height here, I can get a hypotenuse for each one of these and make it true length. So the way to actually lay this out, the pattern out as a half pattern, I'm going to start with the middle of the pattern, which is right here. B, C to 4. That's the very first triangle I'm going to lay out. So, and that's basically what triangulation is. Finding triangles and then drawing them in a true length form. So I'm just going to start with the BC. And imagine if I was standing in the middle looking this direction, for it to be an inside pattern, B would be on my left, C would be on my right, just the way I'm looking at it now. So if I start taking a measurement here of BC, because it's a true length, and I'm just going to plot it right here on the bottom, B to C. So this point to this point, there's my B, here's my C. And I'm going to connect those with a line. Now the next point here is 4, right, to close this triangle in. So B4 and C4, and if you remember when I first plotted them out, they're both in this column here, this same length. So if I go from the top of my true length triangle now and take this measurement right here, that hypotenuse of that triangle is a true length. So now I'm going to go from my B to number 4, and then my C to number 4. So now this point here becomes number 4. And if I draw lines to connect them, there's that triangle in true length form. This is actually what it's going to be in reality. So this triangle from this view is that triangle right there. So now I'm gonna just start on my B side here. Actually, what I do on this side is I'm also gonna copy on this side because the lengths are the same. So I'm gonna take my B3 and my C5. So, and those are both from this next column here. So from the top, take this measurement. So B5 and C, oh sorry, that was B3 and C5. Right? Now, the next thing I need to do is go from 4 to 3 and from 4 to 5. So I'm just going to take a chord length here from this plan view. Make sure that they're somewhat even. So now this is going 4 to 3 and 4 to 5. I didn't quite swing those long enough. That point there and that point there. So we have 3 and 5. If you note, I've actually got 2 compasses set up here. One that's short, and I'm just gonna leave this one for my chord lengths on this plan view just preset, so all I have to do is step them off now. I don't have to keep adjusting it. And my larger one here where I can transfer these measurements pretty easily. Now, if you remember, my next ones here now are gonna be B to 2 and C to 6. And if you remember, 3, 5, 2, and 6 are all the same length, so I don't really need to change anything here. They're still coming from this point here. So now, and that arc I've drawn, if I just extend it out a little bit, it should be enough to cover that. So now I'm gonna go from 3 to 2 and then from 5 to 6. So first from 3 to 2 and then from 5 to 6. 6, 2. And now finally I need the B to 1 and C to 7. So that's again going back to this longer length here. B1 and C7 are in the very last column. So I'm going to take that hypotenuse there. And B1, C7. I use my small compass because it's already got those preset. 1 and C7. Number 1, 7. So now we have the full, all the numbers that are in the round part are all done here. So now I still need to finish these wings. So I'm just gonna connect these lines so you guys can see what we've done so far. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have all the same lines matched in here. I can actually connect my round part. But now I need to go from C to D and B to A. And if you remember, these are true lengths because they're perpendicular to my plane of view. So I just need to take the measurement here, C to D. So C to D, remember I'm going from C though, so it's at the bottom here, C to D. And B to A is also the same measurement. So I'm gonna go B to A. And now I need to go from 1 down to A. and then also 7 down to D. So, because it's going from 7 to D, 1 to A. So those are on the last part here on my true length triangle, the last 2 measurements. So if I take this hypotenuse, and I'm going to go from 7 to D, and 1 to A, D, A, I have completed this fitting. Well, the half pattern anyway. So 1, 2, 3 big triangles, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little triangles. And that is a completed half pattern. The way to double check to make sure it's right, this should be a 90-degree corner here and here. And this half of the pattern is going to look exactly the same as this. So all I'd need to do is flip this over and trace it, and then I have 2 half patterns. Now, if this was a squared around that was off center in any way, I would definitely have to do at least a half pattern. And if it's off center in both ways, like if the circle was down here, I would have to draw a full plan view, and there'd be a lot more numbering and transferring. But it's the exact same process, just taking dimensions or measurements from this view, putting them on a true length triangle, and then laying it out the way I've showed you. And that's basically it.